Hello, my name is Leonardo Farias, and I will be talking about the effectiveness of after-school programs on at-risk youth. We begin first on discussing the importance of after-school programs. According to Green and Bandry, there are about 3.1 million children under the age of 13 that are left unsupervised. This leaves children at greater risk of delinquent behavior such as underage drinking, smoking, and poor academic performances. In addition, a nationwide poll of 65% of registered voters found that after-school programs were an absolute necessity. After-school programs seek to tackle this issue by providing supervised activities with adults in order to reduce risky behavior. The purpose of this literature review is to analyze the effectiveness of after-school programs on treating at-risk youth by providing healthy eating options, improve self-efficacy, reduce delinquent behavior and substance use, and reduce unsupervised time with delinquent peers. At-risk youth are individuals who engage in delinquent behavior or aggression amongst their peers, and this can be in a school setting or an after-school setting. We then wonder, why do individuals choose to engage in such behavior? According to general strain theory, strain is caused by a removal or a loss of positive stimuli. This is extremely prevalent in communities with low socioeconomic children, since many of them can struggle with food security. The strain of not being able to obtain the basic living requirements of food consumption can cause negative emotions and increase the chances of delinquent behavior. For instance, a study of kindergarten twins in the United States found that those children who engaged in poor diet practices were more likely to engage in aggressive behavior as compared to their co-twin. Warner and Machiske asserts that malnutrition severely affects social and intellectual capability, and they found that families who reported increased hunger experiences were 7 times higher to engage in fightings among children. In addition, Abidoy's study on 108 delinquent boys in Nigeria found that nutrition deprivation was strongly related to deviant behavior among 72.9% of the sample group. Louis et al. Examined hunger and malnutrition among children in the Republic of Mauritius and found that children who demonstrated signs of malnutrition at age 3 were significantly more aggressive and hyperactive at age 8 and engaged in significantly more externalizing behavior at age 11 and exhibited more signs of conduct disorder at age 17. After-school programs have a goal in their curriculum that they set out to meet. One example of the curriculum the after-school program set out to meet that was shown throughout the literature is the improvement of healthy eating. The Boys and Girls Club of Rochester and the Rochester Health Community Partnership assessed self-efficacy, and their target population were children from a low-income background in which 73% of them received reduced meals and 41% of them lived in a single-parent home. Whalen et al. Found that the Boys and Girls Club of Rochester and the Rochester Health Community Partnership resulted in children having significant improvement in self-efficacy and motivation for physical activity. This is important since Trost et al. And Zembinski et al. Found that improving self-efficacy is a predictor of improving behaviors and that healthy eating can result in positive lifestyle changes. The lack of supervision and delinquency was found to be prevalent as there are 14 million children and adolescents that spend after-school time without adult supervision, and 14 million of those children are within the ages of 13 through 14. Based on a National Crime Victimization Survey, it was found that in 1992, 9% of violent crime against teens occurring in school were reported to the police, as compared to 37% of crime against teens were reported to the police. The large amount of children that are left unsupervised leaves them at a higher risk of engaging in delinquent behavior. Programs thus aim to eliminate unsupervised time in order to reduce delinquent activities. A program that was evaluated was the Maryland's After School Community Grant Program, where Goffredson and Soule found that 7.4% of juveniles reported committing property crime and 22.6% of juveniles reported committing crimes against a person. Cross et al. Also conducted a study on 5 middle schools in urban districts and found that unsupervised socialization is significantly related to drug use and delinquency. He also found that after-school programs were less effective at reducing unsupervised socialization. In addition, Goffredson also reported that after-school programs were less effective at reducing problem behavior. Another issue that after-school programs aim to address would be delinquent behaviors. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, about 10 to 29% of children have been involved in bullying either as a bully or a victim. It was found that bullying was more prevalent in boys than in girls, and that out of 77 children, 16% classified as bullies, 20% as victims, and 8% as victims of physical aggression. An evaluation of the after-school program 21st Century Community Learning Centers, Gottfredson et al. Found that middle school participants engaged in more negative behaviors and that participants scored higher levels of problem behaviors such as hitting others or defying teachers. Similarly, Dodge et al. Reported negative effects on problem behavior in some after-school programs, especially those that only serve a high-risk youth. In addition, Bertamy et al. Studied the same after-school program, 21st Century Community Centers, which primarily targets and recruits at-risk youth. They found higher rates of deviant behavior, suspension, and disciplinary actions. Upon analyzing these findings, after-school programs failed to improve externalizing behaviors for at-risk youth. After-school programs and substance use was found to be an important issue throughout various studies. Certain after-school programs tackle this issue and measure their impact on substance use for at-risk youth. For instance, the after-school program Choice was analyzed on its effect on alcohol and drug use. D'Amicos et al. Study of 16 middle schools in Southern California with a sample size of 14,976 students found that although alcohol consumption increased throughout the lifetime by 28%, those who participated in the Choice program increased by 23%, which was significantly lower in schools that provided the program Choice. Another program that was found to be effective at preventing substance use was the Positive Youth Development, where 304 participants were taught substance use prevention skills and resulted in increased perception of risk of harm towards drug use and significant change in drug beliefs. Now to focus on programs that found improvement with their participants. Gottfredson et al. Explained that programs that have higher proportions of college-educated staff are more successful at preventing drug use. An examination in the after-school program LA's Best, with a total sample of 2,331 students from 24 schools. This program analyzed mathematic achievement over a 10-year period from 1993 to 2003. They found that 87.5% of low engagement participants avoided juvenile records and that 93.1% of high engagement participants avoided juvenile records. Throughout the literature, it was found that after-school programs have little impact on supervision and delinquency. This can be because after-school programs are underfunded and have ill-trained staff. The lack of nutrition can affect a child's behavior, and after-school programs are used to alleviate that issue in order to improve self-efficacy. After-school programs were also found to reduce the perceptions and use of drug and alcohol. Some policy implications that are noted would be to increase budget spendings on after-school programs in order to fund better curriculum. As McGarrell stated, that programs need to be based on good ideas and need to be well funded and continually subject to test and refinement. He also found that after-school programs with higher proportions of male staff were associated with reduced delinquency and victimization. Further research is required on the impact on nutrition and at-risk youth and after-school programs since findings were limited with this subject. Another area that needs further research would be the impact of parent involvement and success rates of after-school programs. And here are my references.